Thanks for listening to the 10th episode of the Oral Literature podcast series. Oral Literature is a public reading program held on the last Wednesday of every month at the Terrazas branch of Austin Public Library. The podcast series functions as an additional medium for local writers to share their work. In this episode, we will hear work from Lisa Moore, Bradley King, David Longoria, and Annar Veröld, who are all reading at the program April 26. Up first is Bradley King.
I'm Bradley King, and I'm going to read to you from a book I'm making, and the book is called Arrangement. Lunch. It's such a beautiful blue t-shirt Texas winter afternoon. I don't even know what horse to ride. The carousel is probably full by now anyway. Full like New Year's Eve and beautiful like how it stays green when it rains, so I don't complain about my love, so completely left with nothing to do. On the way out, he arranged, within but loudly, what's next and later and what I would not have to do if you had come too. Here the others, smart and nice and fine, but now tired the arrangement. So out to their porch, so reclined, so loudly, repeating what I think and how it repeats and how that thought too he's thought enough. While drops, slow and in rhythm, hit the hood of a car, and bust into a bright sudden spatter. What last night lost, in all this urge, so touched and nudged somewhere so unclose to you. And when he looks up to arrange this with a cloud, and is again already trying, loudly, what was I going to think again? I'm going to get up from bed and get a drink of water. I'm not going to forget Tony's name again. I'm going to text Sandy, who I just got stoned with, and who was talking generally about insulting nicknames, and I want to make sure she's not backhandedly telling me she doesn't like it when I call her Sanders. I'm going to put things in my backpack and go to work. I'm going to brush my teeth before I leave the house. I'm going to stop talking about being productive. I'm going to be especially friendly to dogs with stern owners. I'm going to pick up some chips and salsa on my way home. I'm going to stop doing whatever I'm doing when anyone talks to me. I'm going to stop trying to do anything else while I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going to stop chewing ice cubes. I'm going to ask my mom how her sisters are doing. This poem is called Getting There. My parents don't know how to talk to who I have become, or I'm trying to become, until talking with my parents, or trying to, and thinking about them as parents, remembering when I would grow up to become who they do know how to talk to, and really looked forward to that. And I really looked forward to that too, also not knowing how to know who I have become or am trying to become until talking with my parents, or trying to. You're going to comb your hair or leave it like that? You want me to comb it? You can do what you want with it. Then why did you ask? Because it looks like it needs to be combed. And this poem is called An Expression of Our Walk, and it's dedicated to Grant Cross. Colored by your question and how I didn't answer, even after our talk about our dad's quiet-held sadness, only expressed in their habit of pure television, where one show flips indirectly to the next and lets none of their late-night reruns reach any forthright meaning, which colors my question of any real difference from them, which to me feels like struggle, which must be how you make it seem so easy to show me the sadness of whether I will leave my indirect quiet to flip in your eyes and color me as green as my held habit would vividly color the grass, and how nice it was that we reached it and sat there, and would soon ask you to remember the same with me, probably at a party or somewhere, the soft tone of your question, even after you repeat it, and how you look at me, can flip more easily to my easy expression of how nice our walk was. I'm going to stop worrying about whether the grocery store will stop carrying the toothbrush I love. I'm going to make sure the condom and its wrapper are buried under lots of stuff in the trash can. I'm not going to borrow any of my roommate's salsa. I'm not going to get so excited while talking about things I'm actually very excited to be talking about. I'm going to stop eating so much chips and salsa. I'm going to let myself take more naps. I'm going to write down all of my fantasies. I'm only going to eat chips and salsa once or twice a week. I'm going to think of some more things to do and write them down. I'm going to get some stuff done today. I'm going to stop wearing my light blue t-shirt, which just the other day I realized I don't feel so confident in. And this last poem is called View from the Couch. If you concentrate on a hole, concrete holes close and open like nothing is happening. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Annar, and I'm going to be reading a couple of poems for you for oral literature today. I host a reading series called Ice Cream Social, held at Malvern Books every month, and I also work as an editorial assistant at Smoking Glue Gun and Host Publications. My first poem is titled Soliloquy for a Blue Girl. I got used to no time, guessing days by inspiration, pretending to recall things of day I thought I knew. I keep on, asking back, digressing in the secret place where I am hanging from a tired thread. Among a black drape, above the sea that swallows the horizon, I watch. When life drowns out into the black, when truth and lies feel all the same, I'll sense the stillness, watch me, watch you, stark and awake. I got used to no time, blue girl, convincing myself why and what a bird is, how and where the sun once was, pretending that time just had to wade for a bit as I'm splashing around, providing infinity and water to clean my bones, learning that I am gone and I am rotten, and this is the mystery of the wilderness. My second poem is titled Mother Scope, and it was inspired by a book that a really great friend and poet of mine let me borrow, titled House of Deer by Sasha Steenson. And it's been giving me nightmares, but it's so good. And so this is one of the nightmares, written in poem form, that it inspired. Mother Scope. Blood, iced grass, sunset. Mother, may I meet you in the forest where it sparkles like a 1930s starlet on a Willet stage. Mother dear, I see you. Mother dear, I smell you. Mother dear, a creature. Mother dear, a creature dear. I feel you here, once warm. Creature dear, the moon. Creature dear, it's cold. Creature dear, my mother, I'm crawling in your womb. Mother dear, I meet you as I pick off all your fur. Mother dear, inside you, I have crawled around all night. Mother dear, there's warmth. Mother dear, it's morning. And morning dear, there's flies. Morning dear, there's maggots. Morning dear, there's vultures. Creature dear, I'm sorry. Mother dear, I've left you along a winding winter road.
Okay, so hi, I'm David Longoria. I was from Houston, Texas, and I've been living in Austin for a long time, so I'm an Austin person. Let's see. So I'll read some poems. This one is called The Going. Every tomb sets you free. Become calm. Go back to sleep. Your horse was taken away. Listen to the fire. Your left hand will give you no sleep. The mind scuttles like hooves on the rocky cliffside. Awoken by the womb, the sun rises on the weak and strong, good and bad, light and dark ones, looking for someone today who rode off yesterday, the dress flapping her thighs. You could pull out. You're not the only one who knows the way, chasing the imprint of tomorrow's footstep, going through brush and sand, the wind blowing off your hat. It's from a little book called Tombs. Here's another one called Silk Scarf. I've thought you were a tree fallen on the riverbank, a silk scarf, swept in the current only to be caught on your branch, submerged, dipping and rising, a gasp for survival. I've thought you were a reckless mother, leaving her child in the car to peruse the candy store conveniences, asking for a pack of cigarettes in the carton. And I've thought you were the child, unattended, crying out in the night to the void where no one can hear you. The sea in my skin returns to the sea. My thought is a small clock radio left on the shore. The talk fades into sea foam, a diminished chord resolving to the language of the waves. Here's a short one that has no title. You want to stay in this beautiful place, to be a flower beside the river, petals softening, slow as love, longing to open. And I'll read one more this one's called Unbundle, and these are from a little book called Cow River that I published with Abandon Press a few years ago. So it's called Unbundle. The hammering neighbors punctuate the moment. Eternity enfolds the subtle clink, the cracking of an egg, the opening of a blink. Whatever binds these words falls away like a bundle of sticks when the twine is cut.
Hi, my name is Lisa Moore. I'm very happy to be celebrating National Poetry Month here at the Austin Public Library Terrasses branch with Andrew Murphy. I'm a professor of English and Women's and Gender Studies at the University of Texas at Austin, but I grew up in Calgary in Western Canada, and a lot of the poems I'm going to read today are set in Alberta, where I grew up. Many of them are also set in Austin, but I'm going to start with one that's about the place I come from. It's called Choke Cherry. I grew up in the natural, historic range of the choke cherry, so naturally I'm bitter. With choke cherries, peril is right there, puckery and astringent in the mouth, wild suckering shrub pesticating the south-facing slope at the foot of the 70 acres. The lotus roots in decay, but on the surface, all you see is blossoming, pink nymphea, petal lips cupping the jewel that knows it's a jewel. Perennial, the lotus can live for over 1,000 years with its feet stuck in the same pond bottom, nourished by old wounds and rich, rotting dreams, petals wrinkling across the surface like this flesh contracting across my skull. This poem actually has its setting in a place that I went on vacation with my family, so it's not in either Alberta or Texas, it's in Missouri. Lake of the Ozarks. We leave our names behind on the wooded shore and enter the iridescent water, naked, though one of us still wears glasses and another a bandage. I have been tired of this body, shame-shod, a spire without a prayer, my map of ecstatic connections ringed by blame. What matters is the water, the spines and hearts around me, submerged and more than naked, porous, edges melting away. This poem is called Dissolved. I harbored a stranger, holding him closer than anyone. You could say I made him myself, and it's true, he was created with intention, an infinite leaf caressed by my lover's fingers, delicate and deep inside my body, a dense embryo bathed in handsome semen. But whatever I willed, this wisp, not yet even flesh, broke me down from the beginning, tearing tissue from the walls of my womb until he had hands and a heart. He decreed with imperial sweetness that I would no longer eat this, smell that without nausea, sit, stand, or sleep, remember a phone number, or recognize myself. I'm not myself. And now my heart lives outside my body, walks out the door, grows a beard, plays cello, has a boyfriend I've never even met. Though common as grass, this mystery of the self-dissolved is undreamt of in their philosophy. Here's my tenderness for that knowing. Here's my love for that loss. Moan and low. Starlings slice soft steel sky. Hackberries gather at someone's fence. Winter pansies list to listen. Cement steps catch my knees. Her arm. I've never seen you like this. Swung gate, you'll never catch me crying. Starlings, what have I gone and done? This is another Alberta childhood poem. Elegy 1969. Your horse is nothing more nor less than stored up work with whom you stage a war of wills. Will it be you, your yelled at yank on the reins, or her, 2,000 pounds of bay mare, who was found wanting? Your dog's pink penis protrudes from his plush belly when scratched to catch the rib cage's much nibbled edge. Go ahead, pet him, but he can't fetch, and when we chase cattle, we whoop, go home, like it's a threat. Our animals are stock, not pets. Not another kindergartner learned this, to prefer the word anthropomorphism to tainted delight in non-human beings. You practiced polite eye rolls at the sight of dressed-up dogs, kissed cats, heavy-ribboned horses. You had your own calf for half a year, until the shaft of fall light fell across the slaughterhouse floor. Her name was 3L. Poisoning Gophers, 1977. I hated pouring sweet-smelling strychnine like molasses over my bucket of oats, hated climbing the side of the coulee in my gum boots, black rubber with soles pink as kitten paws. The 70-acre pasture rolled to the west, smelling homely of cattle-trod grass and runny spring manure. In a landscape always threatening thunder, I set down the 5-gallon bucket as often as I dared, rubbed blisters beneath my yellow deerskin gloves, switched hands. I scooped up a sticky sweet morsel with the long-handled spoon each time I stumbled across a hole where the bare black earth broke the meadow and dropped a mouthful in. The walk was lovely in itself, I still love to walk through a quiet place. This meadow here, for instance, a flower with monarch butterflies on their way south. The sweetness stayed with me, but also the heavy poison bucket. I want now to lay down the strychnine-coated spoon. Branding time, 1979. I'm spreading the split ear of the soon-to-be steer, smearing green ink into the smashed-in wounds left by needles in the shape of my father's brand, quarter circle 34. My fingers force grease and dirt off the waxy surface of the inner ear so the tattoo tines dig a deeper mark. On a bed of straw, already bleeding calves bawl. Their mothers brawl behind the high corral fence with my father, my brother, the other cowboys. My uncle spelunks down the bars of the chute, slips in grass-green shit, and hits his head on iron. His eyes go dull and blank. He picks up a plank and beats the shit out of the nearest animal, a calf, a cow, somehow his older son. Or is that another moment? Blood-soaked kitchen, red. The next 3 short poems are a series of epithalamions, and that's a special kind of poem that celebrates marriage. And as a lesbian, I've had to get married a lot of different times before it was legally recognized, so I have 3 epithalamion poems. Alberta Epithalamion. The day we get gay married by the river, water glittered, silver bound, a dream. I wake from a dream of writing a poem. The wind from the foothills translates my pink scarf into Madge's curls, and our skinny boys in cowboy shirts clutch hands. I hate old pain over the wind's clatter. I learn my dad and grieve it. It's not what you think. I tell him, time. I wake. I interrupt myself. I write. Texas Epithalamion. Come here, let's have a quickie. Legal recognition makes me come. Twirl me, dip me, split my face into a never-on-Facebook grin. Our teenage boy pounds hard on a drum box. His hand and foot are silver and bronze. I have hot flashes. My crotch stinks so rank it cured a cripple who had walked on his hands for 16 years. Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap stings. What do gays have in common without oppression? Our pot of ointment, ring of keys, counseling session, kitchen, brewery, garden, prayer. I snap the hem of my dress across the tops of my thighs, dancing. 7 devils pour out. Lover, give my rank dress to the executioner and let's eat parking garage barbecue. This is my last poem for today. It's called Everyday Epithalamion. I put my spleen in the redbud tree where the red-winged blackbirds nest. Our marriage is a badge, is in pieces, is a business, is illegal in some places. Our marriage is a pose, is a breath, is a heron's wing, is a cat's tongue, is a waterfall in a wastewater pond. Our marriage knows my story, knows my shape, knows French and Pig Latin, knows what I know and what I don't. I put my spleen in the redbud tree where the red-winged blackbirds nest. It's a blood-soaked organ, soft and wet, like an unexpected deep soul kiss. Thanks very much for listening to poetry during National Poetry Month.